When I first started lifting, I had no chest and I couldn't feel any mind-muscle connection from the bench. But since then, my chest has gotten a lot bigger. Over the last 6 months, I've learned a lot of golden tidbits which have helped me make the bench press into an S-tier bodybuilding exercise. These tips apply mostly for gaining size, but they can also be very useful for strength athletes. So if you only care about strength, skip to this part of the video. There are many form cues that you need to unlearn if you want to get the most out of your bench press. The typical advice would be to retract the scapula, arch the back. I heard this time and time again when I first got into lifting, that you need to do this in order to stay safe. Here's the thing, these coaches aren't wrong, but this form isn't the best for gaining size. It takes tension off the chest and it reduces the range of motion, which is what we don't want. I recently started experimenting with zero scapular retraction and a much smaller arch. As a result, my arms go farther down and I feel a much better stretch on my chest. You will have to use less weight if you do this, but that's a good thing because it lowers your risk of injury and reduces the overuse in the elbows and the shoulders. So earlier this year, I was just doing regular bench press and I misgrooved one of my reps and I placed the bar a little bit higher on my chest and I felt a much better, more intense stretch at the bottom. Many coaches suggest that you tuck in the elbows when you do any kind of bench press. This is another powerlifting cue that's become mainstream. And it's true. If you tuck in the elbows, it will keep your shoulders in a less risky position and it will allow you to lift heavier. But it will take some tension off of the chest. So through experimentation, I've learned to use more elbow flare and touch the bar higher up on my chest. This is going to line up your arms more effectively with the pec fibers, and you're going to feel your chest more with every rep. I also believe this is extremely safe, provided that you warm up properly, use less weight than you're used to, and control the bar on the way down. And also, don't be fucking stupid and bring the bar up to your neck. Don't do a guillotine press. That's just asking for trouble. Let's talk some more about controlling the eccentric. If you compare how I benched last year to how I bench today, you will notice that I really focus on the lowering phase. Don't overdo it, but focusing on the lowering phase really feels like torture on those last few reps as you're opening your chest up at the bottom, and I think it's necessary to make the most gains. Avoid the mistake of speeding up as you touch your chest. The very bottom is the best part of the lift, so make sure you take your time and embrace the pain. Another thing I do on the way down, which really fucks me up, is I try to bring my hands together. You can even try this right now. Bring your hands together like this, and you'll feel your chest working a little bit. As my hands are gripping the bar, obviously they aren't going anywhere, but on the way down, I'm consciously thinking about trying to squeeze them together, and this 100% increases the chest activation when I bench, 100%. Also, you want to make sure that you maintain tension at the very bottom. A lot of people will either let the bar sink into their chest, or they'll use a stretch reflex and use momentum to bring the bar back up. If you're training for size, you shouldn't do any of this. We want it to be harder. We want to torture the chest. And this means you do a very soft touch at the bottom. Whether you're doing pause or you're doing touch and go reps, you never want to let 100% of the weight rest on your chest. Bald Omni-Man calls this a t-shirt touch, which I think is a very good name because it's almost like you really want the bar to lightly skim your t-shirt. Whenever possible, you want to increase the range of motion at the bottom of a horizontal press. The stretch is the most important part. So this might mean doing deficit push-ups, or going really deep with dumbbells, or getting a cambered bar to use on the bench. There's also this really neat trick that I've discovered for adding more range of motion to machines specifically. You want to get yourself one of these pads, place it on your upper back so that your torso is a little higher, and do your reps like this. Most chest machines have a little gap in the middle, so if we can put our torso a little bit higher, that means we can go even deeper and make the exercise that much better. Whenever I'm doing a machine chest exercise, I always make sure to avoid touching the weight stack on the bottom because you're deloading the weight at the best part. I typically try to pump out as many reps as I can without touching the weight stack, and then once I get too tired, I'll rest for a few seconds and then do basically like a rest pause kind of thing. So that's my advice. I believe that even strength athletes should follow the advice I give in this video, not for their main work, obviously, but for their accessories that they use to build muscle. So, for example, a powerlifter might do their normal competition-style bench press first in the workout, and then afterwards, as an accessory, they might strip a bunch of weight and do the bench how I recommend in this video. At that point, it's basically a different exercise. To give you another example, they might do their competition bench, then a strength-focused accessory, and they might finish off with a machine bench that uses bodybuilding form. So really the possibilities are endless. I think any lifter that cares about maximally stimulating their tits will benefit from this video. If you care about maximally stimulating your back, check out this video or check out this other recommended video.